Bob and I first met in the late 80s, and we decided to do a subdivision together. So I was kind of being the lead on it, and we'd get something done, and I'd say, okay, and now I need some money from all the partners. Well, Bob and Lori would always write a check. They probably had the least ability of anybody at the time to write the check, but I could always count on them to do the right thing and send the money when it was due. Fast forward to 1995, and I've always been in the restaurant business and had an opportunity to do a restaurant in Mount Shasta. Had the food, had the menu, had kind of everything, but didn't have an idea for it.
I had a dream, and in that dream I had this vision of taking kind of what it was to be from Mount Shasta. I was born and raised in Mount Shasta. I was the coach's kid. I was the little kid downtown that went to the corner drugstore and ordered the milkshake that they brought with the big tins, and watched the high schoolers and listened to their music and was all enthralled by that whole thing. And I'd always been surrounded by bears. When I was 12 years old, I went out to do my Davy Crockett bear hunting story. I had a little gun and I was trying to get a great big bear, and the bear almost got me, but as it turned out it didn't. And ever since that time, I've been packing around this bear claw from that bear when I was 12 years old. And so that bear and this claw have been part of my good luck and my belief system ever since. And so in my mind, in that dream, it incorporated my contact with bears when I was a guide in the wilderness areas, and the idea of what it was like to be raised in a small town where things were safe, where kids could be a part of things and moms didn't worry, and you got more than you thought you were going to get, and everything was bigger than how you dreamed it was. So I called Bruce the next day and said, this is the vision I had last night. And he said, well, if you'll do the vision part, if you'll do the concept part, I'll do the restaurant operation side. I've got the food, I've got this. I know how to run restaurants. Bring your vision and my operational ability, and let's give this a try.
We didn't really do this ever figuring that it was going to be much more than just we wanted kind of a restaurant. Maybe we'd invite our friends over, right? You know, we'd have our friends at our restaurant, and so it was kind of a part-time deal. He was working other places, and I was running another company at the time, and so, but we decided we're going to do this thing, and so we signed a lease, and at the time, we didn't have very much money. Very first day, we get this restaurant open, as Bob said, we didn't have any money. So we got the landlord to kick in some money. I got our grocery provider, Cisco, to give us 60-day terms, and we cobbled this thing open. You know, I think we hired about 5 people, you know, and got the place open, and the first morning we opened it, it was kind of slow. And Bob's out there, he's learning to pour coffee, right? And I'm back
I had
there.
to learn to pour coffee. That's how skilled I was.
Yeah, and so I'm back there cooking. Well, we got busier. If you ever worked in a kitchen, it's hot and it's a lot of pressure on you. So I'm back there literally sweating bullets, trying to get the food out. And all I hear out there is well, you've heard him laughing already. I'm back there cooking, all I hear is this guy laughing out front, you know, doing, I said, holy, this partnership is bad news. But so we got through it, and we each worked really the first 38 days of the restaurant. We worked 16 hours a day. Again, we didn't have any money, so we opened from first thing in the morning, we went all the way till we closed at night for 38 straight days. And I lost 40 pounds, he lost 40 pounds.
I found it again though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was quite the ordeal. And we got it open, we went 40 days, and we finally were able to kind of sit there and take a little time off. But it didn't change the fact that we still had no money.
Yeah, during that time, after these 16-hour days, day after day after day, we couldn't afford to give ourselves any money. So we established what was endearingly known as Jukebox Mondays. On Mondays, we would go in, and at that time, the jukeboxes that are in all Black Bears were coin operated. And so on Monday, we would go in and Bruce and I would raid the jukebox and get the quarters. And that would go in our pocket, and that was our pay for the week, was the quarters out of the jukebox. And so I've never been able to look at a jukebox ever again in any other way than as a primary source of revenue. And so we decided this must be easy because people started coming though. And even though we weren't making any money, people were starting to drive from other areas, drive 50, 60 miles to come to a Black Bear because they said it just feels different than any place else we go. And Bruce's food is always bigger than they thought and better quality than they thought. And they start asking us from other towns, can we have a Black Bear? And we had never really thought of being more than a family diner in a small town. It started making sense to us of what a brand really was. And to me, what a brand really is as an expression of internal values, internal visions, things that come from someplace other than just the financial model. And so the more that Bruce was able to express his passion for those values through what he was doing with his food and his operations, and the more I could express that vision of brand through the hospitality and the concept development, the more that we felt that this brand was becoming something bigger than both of us. It had its own heart.